Hey, it's Mitchell Rexel here. My audience is basically non-existent, but I'm clawing my way back into the sim racing world, and I wanted to show my current setup at the moment. So let's give it a look. Crammed everything into the closet, and I've made it a little more comfy. It's basically a G920 on the Xbox, and I've made some modifications to it, as you can see. I'll put item descriptions and maybe some links at the video description below, but I'll run you through what I've done so far. I took off the basic PCD off of the wheel. To get it out of the wheel housing like this, I had to de-pin all of these wires from the back of this clip, if you can focus. So you have to retain the original pinout. It'll help if you write down the wire colors on a piece of paper and then just pin them back into the clip after you've pulled the wires through the center of the wheel, and then make a cutout on both halves of the housing right here to get a wire through. This extra wire that I have going through right here is for the paddle shifters. I desoldered the switches that go back here for the paddle shifters, because this is mounted directly on the wheel, and then the paddle shifters mount onto the hub right here. So the switches that you can see right in there are soldered directly onto the board, and then the board goes onto the plate right here, so the switches articulate on that. I had to desolder from that, glue them onto this, then solder some wires onto the switches in there. I can't get a good view of that, but believe me, there's wires going through the center of that, coming out through here, which is this, and to the board. And they do a good job. Now, as for the hub, there's a hub adapter primarily right here, bolted directly to the wheel, the plastic wheel hub. Then to the adapter I have this quick release hub bolted on, and the other half of the quick release is bolted onto my Nardi wheel, which I had to modify because the PCD on my Nardi was slightly wider than the PCD on the hub. I had to cut slots so that the hub could sit flat against the wheel without having to cockeye the bolts in there. So now that the bolts sit flush and slightly outside of the original bolt hole drilled into the hub, spins perfectly center. As for these extended paddle shifters, that's another item I had to modify. The original ones, which I still got right here, just didn't cut it. They stuck straight out and then fairly short, so with the quick release hub, that was quite a reach. These have a bend to them, pulling them back out towards the wheel, and they're slightly longer. So now it's a more comfortable reach, but it did add a lot of dampening to the switch. So my next step is maybe getting some of those magnetic paddle shifter modders that bolts up right here. It's basically just a piece of plastic that'll bolt up around the hub, and it has 3 or 4 magnets on the front face, so they'll stick onto the piece of metal and add a little more resistance, and it'll hopefully solve this issue and make it more of a tactile feel. Now for another mod I've done, brake pedal mod. I didn't do the traditional mod on that though. Normally people will put just a sliver of eraser on top of the already existent rubber stop that's in there from the factory, and that wasn't enough for me. So at least I didn't like the feel of that because it was a very mushy feel and then it got hard. So I wanted more of a direct feel that I could push into like a real brake pedal. So I ended up still using eraser material, but instead it's the full eraser material, and I made it so it was slightly longer, so there was preload on the eraser. And I also used the original brake spring, so it's fairly hefty and it pushes me away from the seat when I use full brake pressure force. So I need to also replace the wheels with stationary stubs that slip into the chair. That way I don't push myself away from the pedals and the wheel. So yeah, that's basically it. As far as future upgrades I want to do to this setup, I want to go with the gated shifter on this H pattern. I wish I could go back and forth from sequential and H pattern on the Xbox for Forza, but unfortunately that's not an option. In the near future I do want to build a PC though, so stay tuned for that. Also, like I said, the standoffs for the chair, that way the chair doesn't move around with the wheels. And those magnets that are going to go in the back of the hub right here to solidify the shifters and hopefully get rid of that wobble. The most important thing, you got to be comfortable while you're racing though. Speaking of the chair, I'll put a part number for that on the description because I got this off of Amazon. If I put the Amazon link on there, they tend to recycle them and use them for other products. So you'll end up hitting the link and it will send you to the Mazapan instead. Hopefully the part number is more reliable. And hopefully they don't discontinue it, because this is a pretty good deal and it's adjustable on the headrest, it's adjustable on the armrests. It's a very comfortable chair. I've raced 1 hour races on this without any fatigue. Generally don't spend more than an hour on the sim at a time. Get up, walk around, that way you don't end up with any health issues. But yeah, that's a good testament to this. So I'll see you guys around. I'll try to be more active on here, uploading more content, drifting, racing. I have been doing a series that's running like every other month with some people on a forum, so maybe I'll put that up on there too. I did do GT Academy 2012-13 and I didn't get to do 2014, but hopefully I could find some more competitive things like that. Maybe Forza RC does some competition sometimes, and I'll put some of that stuff up on here. So I'll see you soon.